Say for the purpose of this class, so I'll be cooking live, and I'll try and cover everything if I can. If there is anything that you're not sure of, just unmute yourself and ask the question. Or alternatively, you can write the question in the chat. So if you actually hover towards the bottom of your screen, you see a chat box option, so you can click on that and type your question in there. So I'll try to respond to all the questions. Before we start, first of all, I wanted to thank you for being here, and thank you for making my day. You know, you really made me happy by attending my class and cooking with me. And also, I would like to thank you, because just by being here, you made somebody else's day as well. Because for each person that's attending this class, we are giving 1 day of free sexual exploitation training to girls in Cambodia. So to make sure that they're not they don't get involved in the sex slave trade. So let's talk about happier thoughts, and let's go to today's class. Today we'll be cooking two things, both with chickpeas. Okay, so we'll be cooking pasta ceci, which is pasta with chickpeas, and also we'll be cooking hummus. Now, when I sent you the instructions yesterday, I specified to cook with dry chickpeas rather than canned ones. The reason for that is it will be clear in a minute. First of all, just see the quantities. I've cooked one kilo of dry chickpeas. This is the quantities that we will need for the two dishes today. So it's 500 grams for the pasta ceci and 500 grams of cooked chickpeas for the hummus. But also, these are all the other chickpeas that are left over. and we also had some last night for dinner. So this can be used, can be used again, or can be used in salads, or for many other things. But another thing as well is that the cooking water that you should have kept as per instructions can also be used for cooking desserts, and it has the same effect as egg whites. So you can actually even use for preparing meringues, and for doing lovely mousses and so many different things. I mean, you can look it up on the internet. It's called aquafaba, and it can be used for a lot of different things. So out of one packet of chickpeas, Katrina, do you remember how much we paid for that packet?
A few pounds.
Maybe £2, £2.50, something like this. So I say $3. Possibly, we normally get in a kind of like a lunch for at least 4 people today. But also we're going to have hummus that's going to last me a whole week, and it's going to feature in my sandwiches that I take to work, for the rest of the week. And we use the other chickpeas in salads and in other dishes as well. So we're getting a lot of views out of one packet of chickpeas. Okay, let's start we start with the pasta. So we'll get that going, and then while it's cooking, we can do the hummus, which is a very quick dish. Okay, so for the pasta, we will need, as we said, 500 grams of cooked chickpeas.
Have you got to cook without shoes? Have we got to cook without shoes?
Of course you do. I'm sorry, I love being shoeless at home, and I think it's really good. It's really good for my back as well. So yeah, so just do whatever you like. You can cook with or without shoes. I'm cooking without shoes. Okay, so we need 500 grams of cooked chickpeas. Then we need some fresh rosemary. Let's say we have some in the garden. They're absolutely lovely this time of year. So we'll need some bay leaves. Okay, so it's fine. I mean, if you don't have fresh bay leaves, you go dry, or even if you don't have any, it doesn't really affect the dish too much. But I really love the smell of fresh bay leaves in this dish. And then we will need garlic. This is again for the pasta, and a little bit of dried chili. Okay, so those are the and obviously we'll need olive oil. So let's start with this, and then we will do the hummus, for which we also, apart from the from chickpeas, we will need some tahini paste. Tahini paste is basically, it's a creamed sesame seeds with sesame oil as well. And we will need again some olive oil, some lemon juice. You'll need some black pepper, and we'll need some more garlic as well. And I have kept here the cooking water of the chickpeas, so we'll be using it for both dishes. If you don't have any, if you're using tin chickpeas, you can keep the water, or if you don't have any, you can just use normal water. It will still be tasty. It's better if you use this, but it will still be lovely. So let's start cooking the pasta with chickpeas. Okay, pasta Ceci, as we call it. Okay, so we're using the only thing we'll need is kind of like a nice big pan. We'll be using it both to prepare the chickpeas and also to cook the pasta in it. Oh, let's get the ingredients I forgot to mention. So we will need some pasta. As I said in the instructions, was to get Ditali Rigati, which is kind of like a short pasta. I couldn't get any from my local supermarket, so I got another small pasta. As you can see, I'm using pasta shells. The important thing is they got to be small, because this dish is a mix between a dry pasta and the soup. So you'll be eating it with a spoon, and obviously you can't have kind of like a rigatoni or penne, because it would be just too big to eat in this way. So we will need 500 grams of chickpeas, 200 grams of pasta. So let me just measure it out. And you will also need a food processor. So a blender is fine, or if you don't have one, you can use a hand blender. Anything is fine. So I'll be measuring 200 grams of pasta. More. There we are. That's 200 grams of pasta there. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, we need to clean the garlic. Okay, so get a knife. And we'll get, the recipe generally calls for about 3 cloves of garlic. I like more of it in this dish, so I'll be using about 5 or 6. Okay.
Mario, Papolino,
have we got somebody that's asking a question? I can hear some noise in the background.
Just as clear participants, you can understand.
Okay.
Just as all participants.
Sorry?
What does it say about Alison?
Can I check? Can I check if there's somebody here that is not muted? So unless you want to ask a question, please mute your audio. Okay, close. Okay, so let's go back to preparing the garlic. You might want to clean a whole bulb of garlic because we'll need it for the hummus as well. So let's just do it now, and we won't have to bother with it later. Okay, so this is the one I've got now 5 nice cloves of garlic. This is what I use for the pasta Ceci, and then I'll add some more for the hummus. Now I hope you've all started with dry chickpeas and you haven't cheated by using tin ones. If you have used tin ones, shame on you. No, I'm joking. Obviously, if you don't have the time, it takes quite a while to prepare, dry chickpeas because they need to, we need to soak them overnight and then cook them for about 2 hours. So it's, it doesn't take a long time to prepare this dish that we'll be cooking today, but it's all in the pre-preparation, if you want to call it that way, to get the chickpeas ready for this stage when we do the proper cooking. Also, generally, we don't add salt in this case to the cooking water of the chickpeas. If you want to use the juice, then for other preparations, cooking water. If you don't want to use it for other preparation, then you can add some salt. Although by adding salt, the chickpeas will become a bit harder and take longer to cook. So if it takes 2 hours already, you might add another half an hour to the cooking time by adding salt. In this case, I haven't added.
Get dried chickpeas, so going with tinned. Sorry, from Sue Hodgkins. Couldn't get dried chickpeas, so going with tinned. Sorry.
Tins are fine. Hi Sue. Tins are perfectly fine, and obviously it's one of those things that we do in at home just to save time. Just don't worry at all. It's just that by using dried chickpeas, we use them. We get a lot of use out of them. That's all. That's the only reason. It's perfectly good to use tin ones. So I'm using, as you can see here, 5 cloves of garlic. Can you see? So I just roughly chop them. You don't have to be too precise because we'll be cooking them in the food processor soon. Is somebody again with an open mic? I can hear some feedback. Can you please make sure that your mics are muted, please? Do unmute if you want to ask a question. When you're finished asking a question, please mute them again. Okay. So put the garlic in a pan. And then we get the fresh rosemary. And we just obviously take the needles away from the stem because we don't really want to have the stem in the dish. I love the smell. The smell of garlic and fresh rosemary in this dish is absolutely divine. Most of these will be blended and in the blender in the food processor, but there might be some bits a bit longer. It actually adds to the country dish. There are many variations of this dish. by adding tomatoes and other things as well. This is the traditional one. And I actually prefer the simplicity of this one because there are very few ingredients, a lot of flavor, and you can learn how to prepare it without adding complication. Okay, if you like it and you want to try it again, you can look up for for other ingredients to add to the dish. Okay, I think we've got enough rosemary in there. Is plenty. Okay. Okay, now add a little bit of chili. So I've got here, some chili plants from Italy. They're absolutely deadly, very, very spicy. So I won't put a lot of chili in there. So just a tip of a teaspoon. Depending on what you're using, if you're using fresh, or if you're not using the seeds, you might add it to taste to however you like it. It's one of those dishes. Okay, now add the olive oil. We'll need quite a bit of olive oil. We need about 6 tablespoons. Okay. And we can now start it on a gentle flame. We got to be careful every time we add garlic in the pan. We want to be careful because we don't really want to burn the garlic, because that's overpowering. Then it takes over the flavor. So just add a little bit of garlic. I think I got too much for the hummus. Okay, and so I will let that warm up a little bit, and I will need about 1 liter of either water or in this case I'm using the water that I used to cook the chickpeas. So you see it's changed color now. It's got like a nice color of the chickpeas. And I'll take there's about 2 liters in there, so I'll take about half of it, about 1 liter. Okay, so I have that ready. I'll use the rest of it as well to prepare the second dish. So you can see, the oil is still warming up. He hasn't started cooking the garlic yet. You would hear it. You will hear the sizzling when it's ready. And we only be warming the garlic up really for a couple of minutes, no longer than that. Okay, throw this away.
Is the pasta cooking from Rosalind to everybody? Can you repeat the question?
Hi, Rosalind. The pasta hasn't gone in yet, so don't worry about it. You're okay. If you've got a little bit of time and you want to start getting ready for it, you can measure up. I don't know if you're using the same quantities that I'm using. For this quantity of, this is enough generally for 4 people. Or even if you use it as a starter, it could even be for 6. But in our house, it doesn't last very long because it's so nice that we tend to finish it all straight away. So I'm using 500 grams of cooked chickpeas and 200 grams of pasta. Okay, so these are the chickpeas. That's the quantity of pasta that I'm using, okay? So if you want to measure out, if you're using the same quantities, measure out 200 grams of pasta. Obviously, if you're just cooking for yourself, and maybe you're cooking half the amount, then regulate yourself accordingly. So we can hear now. You want to come closer to the with the camera? It started. You can see it's now the garlic is cooking. We just want to make sure it gently cooks for a couple of minutes. Don't want to waste anything. I can start. You can, if you're at the same stage as I am, you should really smell the rosemary and the garlic. Is really nice, especially if you're using fresh rosemary. It's got such a lovely aroma. So we just leave it for a few more seconds. And I'll get the water ready because I need some soon. Okay. Now that we cook this we just warmed it up.
You say cooked chickpeas.
Yeah.
And not just soaked.
No, they're cooked already. So the question was, when you say cooked chickpeas, are these cooked or just soaked? In this case, they're already cooked because the chickpeas take, a long time to cook. So these were cooked for almost 2 hours. Okay. So I'll be using this. If you're starting with soaked chickpeas and you need to cook them, this whole process will take a long time. You can still do it, but it will take a lot longer and it won't be ready when I'm finished. Okay, so now that we've done this, I want to add about half the chickpeas that I have to the pan. Okay, that will do. And so I'll let them really take the flavor. I'll add a little bit of salt. And we let it on the lowest setting, we let it cook for another 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, while this is cooking, actually I think I'll add a little bit more chickpeas. While this is basically really absorbing the flavor from garlic and the rosemary, we get our blender, our food processor ready, because what we'll be doing in a minute is putting all this in the food processor to obtain a really nice rich cream. Okay, so if I can take the food processor here and put it somewhere where it's safe. So that, in case of any mess with something, unless I don't hurt myself. Okay. I think we're ready for the next stage now. So I just add a little bit of cooking water. so that it makes it easier to blend them. I also make sure that all the flavors from the pan.
Neves, how many chickpeas did we add? Repeat the question.
How many?
Chickpeas did we add? That's from Neves.
We had. I started with 500 grams, but whatever you're starting with, if you're just cooking for yourself and we're having a lower amount, we use half the chickpeas we put in the pan now. The other half was still here. We still haven't used. So I'll just add a little bit more water, just a little bit, tiny bit. And again, just let it, I don't want it to evaporate because I'll be needing some of this to for the blender. Okay, so, okay, I think this looks just right. So I'll take it off the flame, turn the flame off, and I'll be putting it in the blender.
How much water in pan? That's from Nevis as well.
There's not very much, only really
3 ladles.
No, it's about up to about 1 ladle and another little bit. So there wasn't much water at all. We don't need a lot. We just need enough to make sure that we blend everything. Okay. So almost everything is in there. Okay.
Excuse the noise.
Now, excuse the noise. This is quite noisy. Okay. It's actually, I think this is quite. It is quite thick, so I will add a little bit more cooking water. Just to make sure really that I can get it off the food processor.
Can you show?
Okay, it doesn't really matter as long as it's blended and it's creamy. We will add a lot more water now, so. So we got this now. Now I'll return it onto the pan. Actually, maybe I need to turn the pan back on. That will help. Flame goes back on. So we add the rest of the chickpeas. And we just let them take the flavor from the rest of the garlic and the rosemary that we used. And then what we'll do is that we add 1 liter of cooking water, or if you don't have any, you can just use, just water. Okay. And now we need to we need to add salt because we need to cook the pasta in there. So what we'll do in a minute, we'll regulate the salt, and then we'll bring this to the boil. And when it's boiling, we put the pasta in. Now let's see. I will start with about half a teaspoon and taste it. Okay. Because I don't want to, because most of this water by the end will evaporate. And I want to make sure that it is salty enough, but also I don't want to make it extra salty that, you know, it's really too much to eat. No, we need some more. Definitely need some more. So add about another half a teaspoon. Okay. And you might want to, just in case water evaporates too quickly, you might want to keep a little bit of warm water, you know, on the side, just in case we need to add a little bit more. Okay, now let's give it another taste. Let's see if the salt level is fine.
Excuse me, sorry.
Sorry, is that
Hi.
From Nevis to everyone. After we blend chickpeas and put them back in pan, do we add all of the chickpeas?
Yes. Yes, Nevis, you'll be adding all of the chickpeas. I still need a little bit of salt in there. I mean, regulate this to taste, but for me, it's got to be taste a little bit salty. It's still a little bit bland for me.
Was somebody else speaking? I don't know. Could you ask?
Yes, so with the chickpeas, I'm only doing half of the amount of the dish. So how many chickpeas did we start off with? I can't remember how much cooked.
Okay, sorry, could you repeat the question? Can you put
And she's only doing half the quantity, so she wants to know how many chickpeas you started off with, but she's only doing half the quantity.
Okay, whatever quantity you're starting with, you put in the pan at the beginning half the chickpeas, half of whatever you have. So I started with 500 grams, so 250 grams have gone in there, and the rest of it has gone in later. If you're starting with, let's say, half the quantity, it will still be then you put 125 grams at the beginning.
Oh,
and the rest of it. Whatever you start with, you put half of it at the beginning and the rest of it later.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I think I've put enough salt in there now. Let me taste it. And for some reason, I still need to add a little bit more. So by the end of it, I would have put like a heaped teaspoon in here. Okay, that will do. For the moment, I'll cover and I'll wait for it to start boiling, and then we'll put the pasta in. Okay. If you add your food processor now, we'll be using it for preparing the hummus. To be honest with you, most of the things that are in there will be in the hummus as well. So you don't need to wash it. You can just we can use it as it is for the hummus. Okay, the hummus is very, very quick, so it won't take a long time to prepare. So we'll be putting most of the ingredients in there. So the chickpeas go in all at the same time. Again, I'm using 500 grams in there. It's quite a lot. That will last us for a whole week. Then I need the juice on 1 lemon. So I will cut this and juice it. This is half a lemon, and the other half. Okay, so the lemon juice goes in here. Goes all in. So does the garlic. Again, this is to taste. I am putting, oops, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cloves of garlic. I mean, the original recipe normally calls for about 2 or 3, but I think it's really nice. Oh, sorry, one step I forgot. Now that we put all the chickpeas in there, with the water, we can put in the bay leaves. Okay, I'll just keep one for the dish for the presentation at the end. This can go. They don't need to be chopped up because we won't be eating the bay leaves. We'll be removing them when it's when the dish is ready. So you don't need to. They can just go in whole as they are. Okay. Okay. So I was saying we got the lemon juice in there. We got the garlic. Need some black pepper. I'm using peppercorns, but you can use ground pepper as well. I'm using about roughly about 1 teaspoon. I'll need a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. That's 1. That's 2. Just clean the spoon. And I will need some salt. About 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay. And I will need tahini paste. Okay. This is the tahini paste. As you can see, we need to mix it up a little bit because there's all the oil that's come on to the surface. This is just a plain tahini paste from a local supermarket. Okay, basically what this is just like sesame seeds. They are creamed and combined with sesame oil. So that's all it is. It's a very healthy ingredient. I'm just mixing it up so that the oil mixes back in. And I'll be using about half this jar. Maybe a little bit more. This is a small one. I normally get a 250 gram ones. This is only 180, so there's a little bit more than half.
Is pepper in blender also from Rosalind? Can you say that?
Yes, Rosalind. The question was: is pepper already in the blender? Yes, it is. So we got salt and pepper. We got lemon juice. We got garlic, and the chickpeas. Okay, so that is ready. Let me see if I've forgotten anything. Okay, we got all the ingredients in there, so we are ready to blend. So first of all, we blend this, and then for the consistency, we'll add some of the cooking water. Okay, I've got here. So to see them to bring it to the right consistency. Okay, so sorry again about the noise.
Nevis said, could you repeat what we put in pan so that I know everything is in?
Yeah. Okay, so in the pan we got chickpeas.
In this pan or that?
Sorry, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the Nevis? Are you talking about the hummus, or are you talking about the pan for the pasta?
Just waiting for the message to come up.
You can unmute yourself if you want, it's easier.
First, pasta pan.
Ah, the pasta pan. So at the moment we got the chickpeas, so the ones that we creamed, and also the whole ones. We got rosemary, we got garlic, olive oil, and bay leaves. Okay, now that it's, as you can see, can you just come closer? It's actually now, the water started to boil. So you can see it's now, the pasta is ready to go in. So we put the pasta in. We got 200 grams of pasta in there, or 500 grams of chickpeas. Okay, so I'll give it a mix, and then I'll let it cook uncovered.
How long do you cook it for?
This is because it's not cooked in a big pan of water. It probably take a little bit longer than usual. Normally, this pasta would take about 9 or 10 minutes, but will probably take about 15, because by the time it's cooking, there won't be much water left.
Nevis asked how much salt and pepper.
I
Salt and pepper would be.
Yes, on this one I didn't use pepper. I used chili, dry chili in there, just like the tip of a teaspoon, but it's down to taste really, chili. I like a little bit of a bite, but I don't like it too hot. So I used like the tip of a teaspoon, but I use the seeds as well, so they're already quite hot. Salt. I've used about 1.5 teaspoons of salt in here. But what I would say, it's just tasty. Make sure that it's right, because otherwise, if it's not salty enough, the pasta will taste of nothing. For me, that's just right. Okay, so I'll leave it there to cook. And now on here, I just make sure that some of the things are stuck to the side of the blender. Make sure that and I will add, as you can see, shall we open it up? I mean, it's not, as you can see, a lot of the chickpeas are still not cut, so I'll need a little bit too thick. I will need to use some of this. I will put a couple of ladlefuls, and I give it another turn, and then we'll see if we need to add a little bit more. Okay, so.
From Raksha, is cooking water the same as a stock?
If you don't have the cooking water, you can use stock. At the moment, this is just plain the water that I use to cook the chickpeas. So it's got nothing in there. There's no salt, nothing, no stock, nothing. But if you don't have that, then the next best thing to use would be stock. Okay, but obviously depends on what kind of stock you're using. Make sure that you don't do too much salt, because obviously stock generally has got quite a lot of salt in there. So I had used a certain amount of salt in here because I didn't have any salt in the chickpeas to begin with. If you're using stock, make sure that you regulate the salt accordingly. Okay, you want to have a look in here, Katrina?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you can see the consistency in there now that we are closer to what we want. I think I will add a little bit more water.
Lift it up on the spoon so we can see it.
Okay. Okay, so this is pretty much ready. I mean, for my taste, I like it a little bit runnier than that. So I add possibly another ladle of stock or cooking water. And I'll give you another turn. Okay. Now, can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, this is pretty much ready. What we do before we take it out and we dish it out, we just want to check salt and pepper to see if we need to add anything.
From Nevis, could you repeat Hummus procedure to make sure all ingredients are in?
Okay, so the ingredients of that I've used in here are 500 grams of chickpeas, cooked. About the juice of 1 lemon. About one teaspoon of salt. About I think I used about four or five cloves of garlic. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. About I would say about 100 grams of tahini paste. And then some like a teaspoon of pepper.
And the water.
And the water we added at the end. First of all, we blend it, and then we add the water to just basically give it the consistency. The water is not really needed, to be honest with you. It's just to make sure that we get the right consistency. As you can see, it's quite thick. Can you see? I just want to taste it, just to make sure that the salt. This is really nice. Yeah, I just think I need a touch more salt in there. So we'll just have not a lot, so just a little bit of salt. There we go. And also, you might want to add, if you check it for acidity, you might want to add some more lemon juice, which is what I'm doing right now. Okay, that goes back in. As you can see with all my recipes, I mean, it's not something that you just like written down and this is it, and I just apply the recipe. It's all, there is a lot of tasting involved, because I just want to make sure these are things that we eat at home. So we know in a restaurant and where everything has got to be like standardized, we just want to make sure that the taste is right. Okay. give it another taste to make sure that it's right. Yes, I need to get my taster here to have a taste as well. What do you say?
Perfect.
Okay, so
Show the inside.
the hummus is ready. So now we'll put it in a plate and we'll have the finishing touches. Okay. Now, hummus generally is served either with some bread, which I like to lightly toast. So I would put it in the
How
toast.
much tahini needs asks?
I put in, for that quantity of chickpeas, I put about 100 grams of tahini paste. So I'll toast some bread, and we also have some raw vegetables that can be eaten with the tahini. Sorry, not with the tahini, with the hummus. So I'll just get a bowl and so this is the hummus. Now, just for the finishing touch, I will add a few leaves of parsley. Let's get my scissors kitchen scissors and just lightly chop them over the top. As a last finishing touch, we just put a drizzle of olive oil. And this is your finished dish. This is the hummus, which can be served, generally served as a starter. That's it. Just to show you. We just pick it up. Just delicious. So simple, but so nice. So we have some toasted bread. We can just serve it with some bread and with some freshly cut vegetables. Okay, so this is the first part of today's meal. Let's have a look how the pasta is getting on now. Can you see now, compared to what we had a few minutes ago, it's already looking a lot thicker. The pasta has absorbed a lot of the water, some of the water has evaporated. By the time we finish, it's just going to be, most of the water will be gone. So I'll just see how we are, how we are with pasta. It still needs a few more minutes. And now also, if you might want to regulate, because pretty much now all the ingredients are in there. what we will do at the end, I just kept a little bit of rosemary behind. So I'm just going to finely chop a little bit of rosemary, not a lot, something like this, and I will be drizzling over the top when we're pretty much at the end of the when the dish is pretty much ready. So I can do that now. Okay, so as you can see, I'll just chop this as fine as I can. Because obviously you don't want to eat a big bunch of rosemary. Okay, so pretty much this is pretty much ready. We just wait for the pasta to be completely cooked. It's a fairly simple dish. I mean, today because we've done two things at once, but otherwise this can be ready in less than half an hour. We're gonna have a taste. I think we are nearing the time when the pasta is cooked. Yeah, I think another couple of minutes. I'll just sprinkle a little bit more salt. The salt is completely to taste, so I know how much I like to eat, but obviously there are some people that are on a low salt diet. They're not using to eating too much, so just make sure that you regulate it so that you're happy with it.
Low battery, 20%.
That's fine. It's fine. Yeah. The phone is a low battery, but we'll still have enough to get to the end of this cooking time. While this is finishing, I wanted to quickly talk to you about next week. So next week, I thought of bringing out the mushrooms. Who likes mushrooms? Any feedback?
Me.
Yeah, from Katrina, yes.
Yes, everybody likes mushrooms? Okay, so we'll be cooking mushrooms in 3 different ways. First of all, I'll do a mushroom carpaccio for starter. Carpaccio is basically we'll be using uncooked mushrooms cut very finely with some special ingredients, and then we let lemon juice, olive oil, and salt cook them simply by macerating. Then we'll be having a porcini mushroom risotto, which is possibly my favorite or one of my very favorites. And the porcini mushrooms are so rich. It gives such a lovely flavor to the risotto. It's amazing. But we'll be using a mix of what we can get this time of year. Obviously, we can only get dried porcini mushrooms. In the autumn, you will be able to get fresh ones, and it's lovely to use. And dry ones are fine as well. They're very, very full of flavor. And then we'll be also be cooking mushrooms in garlic, parsley, and brandy. So we'll be having three different ways of presenting mushrooms. Each one is really nice, completely different. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Can I show you my mushrooms? I'm in Australia and it's autumn here, and I've got foraged saffron milk-cap mushrooms. So that's freshly picked.
She's
in Australia.
And she's got a swat mushroom. Can you speak up, Katrina? We can't hear you very well.
Hi, I was just saying that I'm in Australia and these are pine mushrooms that I foraged last week. So it's I might use that next week.
She's got some mushrooms that she'll use next week, and they're in the forest, or?
Yes, I mean, if you got wild mushrooms and it's the right season, yes, by all means, it's fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic. You also might want to get I mean, most supermarkets now stock dried porcini mushrooms. We'll be using some of those for the flavor. So make sure that you get. I'll send all the instructions tomorrow. But make sure you get some of the dried porcini mushrooms, and then we use some of the whatever it's available, locally. We use some fresh mushrooms and some porcini mushrooms as well. The porcini mushrooms is what really gives the rich flavor. Okay, so but whatever you have in your local.
Jacqueline and Sue, they said thank you. They're going. Jacqueline.
Okay, so I think we're just about ready. Let me just taste the pasta just to make sure it's. Just right. Okay, so what we do now, as we want to make sure that we don't overcook the pasta. Just still got a little bit of a bite to it. So we turn the flame off and cover it for a minute. So obviously the water is still very hot in there. So the pasta will finish cooking. In there. So we let it rest for a minute or two, and then we'll be ready to dish up. So as we now turn the flame off, I'll be using the rest of the rosemary. So I'll just sprinkle the rosemary over the top. Like this. And cover it again. Then I'll get my dish ready for Okay, so we managed to negotiate another cooking demonstration. I would be really, really grateful if you enjoyed today, and especially if you managed to cook a nice dish that you've enjoyed. If you could put a comment on the Facebook page, that'd be really nice. And even if you wanted to put a review on our page, that would be even nicer. But if you have taken pictures, you've done a nice dish, I'd be really happy to see the finished results of what you cooked. Because it gives me a great pleasure to know that some of you are actually cooking with me and enjoying these dishes. It's almost as if you're coming into my kitchen and we're enjoying all this together, like we do in Italy. So for me, as I said,
Katrina, to everyone, can we please be sent the recording?
Yes, Katrina, the recording will be both on the Facebook page and also on the YouTube channel. But I'll email everybody with the links to the.
This has been great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Katrina. I just another word before I dish this up. I also wanted to say that for me, doing all this is almost like a tribute to my mother and grandmother that have given me this amazing love for food by tasting the incredible things that they were cooking for us every day. So thank you for coming to this demonstration, because it helping me to honor them as well. Okay, so let's take this up and look at
from
this.
Hilary Jones, apologies for being late. I'm so pleased I can watch the recording.
Okay, great, Hilary. Look forward to putting it on the page so you can follow it and you can cook by yourself. Okay, can you see this now? So there is still some liquid in there, but most of the liquid has been absorbed by the pasta.
Raksha, thank you. Cannot wait for next week from Raksha.
Oh, fantastic, Raksha. I look forward to seeing you then. Okay, where is the... Okay. So we don't serve the bay leaves, okay? Normally those are discarded. Although if you're at home, they're really nice if you want to lick them. There you are. Just for decoration. This is the finished dish. So it's time to tuck in now. So I'll have my beautiful cameraman here that always have now it's a almost tradition. They ask to come and taste finished product. And then we also have the ravenous 17-year-old next door.
Lovely.
Which,
Hi everybody. Okay, let's taste it. It's quite torture sitting behind the camera and getting all the aromas and not being able to taste anything. So I have got the privilege at the end to do this, which I really enjoy.
And this is Francesco. Come here, coming from
Absolutely delicious.
Have a taste. Very good.
Woke up half an hour ago. Typical teenager.
Hot. Very hot. Nice.
Well, enjoy your plates as well. This is absolutely amazing, as it always is. Thank you.
Okay. Really, thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. And I look forward to seeing you all next week from the Bernardini family. It's goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you next week.
Thank you for so much. I've saved this recipe for another day from Vijay. Oh,
Thank you, Vijay.
And Kate, thanks.
Thanks, Kate. Thank you very much, all of you, for watching. Close it. And the meeting is ending now.